Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
NFL, oh, I miss you so. NFL, when you left, there was a hole deep in my soul. Now it is whole until the Super Bowl.
Hey YouTube, you're watching episode 6, week 6 of Let's Have Some Football. Yeah, last week, that was a rough week for me for fantasy football and for my picks. Now, my entry pick, we'll talk about that later, but my regular picks, I went 7-7, so that is really bad. We had been doing very well, but until last week. Last week, I don't know if everybody else that did picks did bad, but I did pretty bad. But it's still 500. Okay, so let's talk about the football games this week. So right now, I'm recording this Friday, and I just got done watching the Chiefs game. And I made my picks before the Chiefs game, by the way. And this was Denver at Kansas City. Thank goodness they did not show Taylor Swift 20 times this game. She still got some screen time, but they're dialing that back a little bit, so that's good. So I picked the Chiefs to beat the Denver Broncos, and for a while it looked like that was going to be very easy, but then Denver made a little bit of a comeback, but the Chiefs ended up winning. Very happy about that. So I know I already have one win in the bag. And the Chiefs continue to play a very interesting game this year. So I know a lot of Chiefs fans are very concerned because the offense isn't doing as well. But I tell you what, that defense is legit. This year's Chiefs team, they're going to win, and it's going to be because of defense. I think they're better than last year overall, but clearly took a big step back on offense. But an even bigger step up on defense. So that was just a really solid, another great effort for the Chiefs. They go to 5-1. So there's another game in London this week. So it's early on Sunday. Baltimore at Tennessee. Well, it's actually at London. I'm going to go with Tennessee in that game. Baltimore is not impressing me much at all. Very inconsistent. The Commanders, Washington Commanders at Atlanta Falcons. I will go with Atlanta in that game. They don't seem like a great team, but they are winning games. Minnesota at Chicago. I've seen Chicago at their worst, but they've also had some good games here and there. But I have to go with Minnesota in that game. Seattle at Cincinnati. I'm going with the Bengals. They're starting to look like the normal Bengals, and so I'm going to pick them. San Francisco at Cleveland. This game is not going to be as easy as it looks. I think the 49ers will win this, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. Cleveland seems to be a pretty good team. Carolina at Miami. Miami looking very solid. That offense is very tough. There's no question at this point in the season, the Dolphins' offense is probably the best in the league. I got to go with Miami. Carolina cannot keep up with their scoring. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. I will go with Jacksonville. Indianapolis is another one of those teams that They play good one week and then really bad. Very unpredictable. I will go with Jacksonville. New Orleans at Houston, the Texans. I've been picking New Orleans several times this year, but they've kind of lost. I've lost confidence in them. I'm going to go with Houston in this game and C.J. Stroud. New England at Las Vegas. Wow, New England has been bad lately. I'm not going to pick Las Vegas as my my entry pick, even though I probably should. I just don't trust the Raiders, but I'm picking them in this game. So, Raiders over New England. All right, Arizona at the Rams. I think this is a more easy game to pick right here. I like the Rams in that one. They seem to be playing pretty good. Philadelphia at the Jets. Jets, Jets. I like Philadelphia this game. They've been living up to all the hype. Great team. And then we have Detroit at Tampa. This game, very tough to pick. I actually am going to pick Tampa Bay, where a lot of people are going to be picking Detroit, and they probably should. I probably should pick Detroit, but I like the matchup here with Tampa Bay. The Giants at Buffalo. This is a very solid Buffalo team, and they are going to win that game. Although Buffalo did lose last week, shockingly. I think that was the London game, but to Jacksonville. But I think they bounced back big this week. Dallas at the Chargers. Lost the LA Chargers in SoFi Stadium. That's the Monday night game. I think that will be a good game, but Dallas seems like they're kind of reeling right now. They're like the Jekyll and Hyde of the NFL. Really good some games and then really bad other games. I'm going with the Chargers in that game. So we'll see how my picks do. I went with a lot of home teams this week. All right, so now we move on to the contest. Of course, winner of the contest gets this PSA 9 Jabril Peppers rookie, orange parallel. It's down to 2 people. Both teams survived. One of them is me, and one of them is Rangers Baseball. So congrats to Rangers Baseball. Last week I picked the Miami Dolphins. They won. And the Rangers Baseball picked Atlanta Falcons. And for 2 weeks in a row, he's had some really gutsy picks, and they have come through barely. But he is still in it. And it's actually more impressive, I think, because he's saving some of the really good teams while I've been burning really good teams trying to get through these weeks. See how the strategy changes in week 6, because in this contest, you can only pick a team once. So, yeah, you can pick a lot of the strong teams early, but you can't use them later. So sometimes it might be a good strategy to pick a little bit of an upset here. Hope it hits, and then you still have some of the big-time teams left when it gets later. But this is the latest this contest has gone. Last year, I think I won it in 1 week, and then we just did another one, and then Winto ended up winning it, I think, in like 3 or 4 weeks. But we're going into week 6. Okay, so I've picked Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, San Francisco, and Miami. So I can't use any of those teams. Rangers, they've picked Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, Denver, and Atlanta. So he can pick any of the teams besides those. All that team has to do is win, and he goes on to week 6. Or week 7, because this is week 6. All right, so my official pick, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals as my entry pick. They're playing Seattle. They're looking like the old Bengals. They've got to make up ground. That's usually when Cincinnati's at their most dangerous. So I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals as my entry pick when they're at home playing Seattle. Okay. Rangers, of course, put down in the comments the team you're picking to win this week. of course, you can't use Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, Denver, or Atlanta. But the rest of the board is clear. And all that team has to do is win. If they tie, you're done. If they lose, you're done. So he knows the rules, I'm sure. All right. Now, fantasy football. It was a bad week. It's one of the worst ever weeks I've ever had in fantasy football. And it seems like I'm saying that more often this year. We lose 60 to 86. We're now 2-3. So our record isn't terrible. But, man, this football league that I'm in has been around for like over 30 years, I think. And back in the old days, we had just a basic scoring system. So you would only get points if a player scored a touchdown or a 2-point conversion or something. They had to actually score. Nowadays, our league gives performance points. Like you get 10 yards rushing, you get a point. 10 yards receiving, you get a point. So back in the old scoring system, I would have had 2 points. That's how bad I was. I had 0 touchdowns, 0 2-point conversions, no safeties. It was ugly. So I would have scored 2 points in the old scoring system. 2 points, 2 extra points for my kicker. That just shows you how many extra points you can get with the performance base. Because I scored 60, only lost by 26. So I had a lot of yards, but just no scores. But, you know, you got to get some touchdowns mixed in there. You're still not going to win. All right. So this week, we hope to bounce back. Quarterback, I'm going with Lamar Jackson. He, apparently, I think he had like 2 touchdowns and either receivers dropped it or it was penalties or something. But anyway, he got me 0 last week. But he's always dangerous because he can get rushing touchdowns too. So I'm going Lamar Jackson. Running backs, I'm going with 3 this week. Derrick Henry of Tennessee. I'm going with Travis Etienne of Jacksonville. And I'm going with DeAndre Swift of Philadelphia. He's been pretty solid this year. Wide receivers. I'm sticking with my return guys. This has actually helped me some of these weeks because you know, my other guys aren't really scoring anyway. I might as well get some free return yardage points. So I'm going with Marvin Mims here tonight against the Chiefs. I did see him get a couple returns, so I know I got a couple points from him at least. Rashid Shaheed for New Orleans, going with him. And A.J. Brown for Philadelphia. He seems like he's really starting to do good after he threw a fit. He's getting the ball more, so maybe that's why those guys throw fits, because it gets results. All right, tight end. Got to go back to Mark Andrews. He's playing very well. Defense, I went with the Chiefs, and I know they scored some points tonight because I saw them get a point for interceptions and fumble. I think they had both of those, and they had some sacks. So I know I got some points out of the Chiefs' defense. And they had a shutout for most of that game, but they did not end up getting the shutout. We get bonus points if you get a shutout. All right, kicker. I'm changing it up at kicker this week. I'm going with the Bengal, Evan McPherson, sticking with my Bengals. So I need the Bengals to have a big week. Win their game, put me through to week 7 in the entry picks, and then I need a bunch of field goals from Evan McPherson. All right, that's what. Let's have some football. No matter what, if this entry contest ends this week, we'll still have a recap. Let's have some football. So there'll definitely be another episode next week, but it's getting down to the crunch time on the entry picks. So again, I'm going with the Bengals. Rangers baseball. Put down your pick, and let's see if we can both make it to week 7 and keep this thing going. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and let's have some football.
Oh, while I take plots and I cannot lie, you are the brothers I can't deny.